Today, I'm hiring someone to work remotely in my team. So let's talk about how such an interview should go over a cup of coffee. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Virtual Coffee Chat with Luis. That's me. And let's talk a bit about a remote job interview, right? I'm going to be hiring someone in some minutes. That's why I'm going to rush through this mug of coffee. And well, let's talk about what I'm expecting from that person, right? What am I looking for, considering that this is a remote position and I want them to join my remote team? So obviously there's the technical aspect, and I'm not going to conduct the interview alone. This is for an SEO and pitching position. So I'm going to have my SEO expert on board. She'll handle all of the technical stuff, right? She'll be the best judge of whether the person has the skills or not based on the conversation. But I'm there because I want to figure out if they're a good fit for the team, for the culture, and more importantly, for remote work. So what things am I going to be looking for? Well, the most obvious answer is internet connection, right? I know this sounds slightly unfair because it's got very little to do with the person. It could be somewhat outside of their control. But at the end of the day, our work relies a lot of communication. We do a lot of video in our company. We do a lot of video chat. And that requires a good internet connection, right? So if during the interview they're constantly breaking up, that's no good. That's not good. And I can go ahead and think a bit, well, maybe the person had bad luck today, but more generally what that tells us is that the person doesn't take the job seriously enough to secure optimal interview conditions, to secure optimal communication conditions. Now, I can grant the benefit of the doubt if the person reaches out to me and says, hey, usually my internet is quite good. I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I'm going to check it out, right? But it needs to come from their side, right? I can't be the one to point it out because they can't be oblivious to it. So that's the number one thing. The number two thing that I'm going to look for is engagement. Now, obviously, whether remote or not, it's nice to have people who are engaged in the work they do, engaged in the thing that they're going to do. But for remote work, this is even more important because we're often not seeing each other, right? Engagement is a precursor to trust. When someone is engaged in their work, you can trust that they're going to do the proper work. And so how do I measure engagement? Well, I ask them, right? I asked them how they came to look for this position, how they came to do their work, where they learned. I found out that it's one of the good ways of measuring an engagement is asking people how they learn. What are their favorite authors in their field? What are the favorite examples? What are their idols? Who they try to emulate, to follow? And if people talk about this with excitement, right? If you can see their eyes shining while they're talking about this book that changed their life, or that book, or that mentor that they had, or someone who they've never met, but they just consume every piece of content that they put out about a certain topic, then that's a person that's engaged. That's a person that really enjoys their work. And chances are, if you provide them good working conditions and a solid work culture, they'll be engaged in doing that in your company. So that's another one of the things that I'm looking for. And the third thing, well, I'm looking for more things, but I think that if I leave you with the top three, that will be good enough for this virtual coffee chat. The third thing is clarity of communication. Now, this doesn't only happen in the interview. I actually go to the CV, go to the cover letter, and I figure out if this person can communicate what they want to say clearly, right? Now, it doesn't mean that they need to do it in as fewer words as possible. That's nice, but I'm okay with verbose people. What I don't want is people who ramble, right? who circle a subject without reaching any conclusion. I don't particularly. It's not easy to work with people where you have to constantly explain what you're saying, right? Constantly repeat, because not because they didn't hear because of connection or something, but just because they don't understand the lingo that you're speaking. So you need to go out of your way to translate into a version that they're going to understand. This is actually, I found out that I expected people to be uh, to be easy to communicate with people that share a language with you. But actually, I found out both in my native language and in my learned languages that that's not actually the case. There are plenty of native speakers in any language that don't have the capacity to communicate clearly, even in that language, right? I look for the capacity to I looked for the capacity to put thoughts or organize thoughts in a coherent manner, right? And that is super important because again, communication is the lifeblood of remote work. And if you're in a room, you can have those clarifying exchanges very clearly. But in a remote work context, maybe sometimes it will even be asynchronous. Hopefully, I mean, remote again thrives on asynchronous. So, and in asynchronous communication, if something is not clear the first time, who knows when you're going to have a chance at clarification? Maybe it will be in 10 minutes, maybe it will be in 1 hour, maybe it will be in 1 day. And that clogs the system. So, to recap, those are the three things: awesome internet connection, communication, engagement, communication, and engagement. So, those are the three things. And engagement, communication, and awesome internet connection. That's it. So that's what I'm going to be looking for in the interview that I'll be having in a couple of minutes. Please wish me luck, because I do want to get the best possible person. I want to have a colleague that's awesome, and also wish them luck because I think they're going to enjoy the job. So that said, if you enjoyed this show, Virtual Coffee Chat with Lewis for Think Remote, please press like, subscribe, and share. And until the end of the month, Think Remote is running a promotion. If you subscribe to our newsletter, you are going to be in the running for winning one of 10 Levitate standing desks. So have a go at it. The content is awesome. So go there to thinkremote.com, subscribe, and be in the running. See you tomorrow.